need to understand a little bit about internal combustion engine design. A major problem always in internal combustion engine design is the production and management of excess heat. What do you do with this heat? As engines are getting bigger, more powerful, it means that the heat flow paths to the outside of the engine get longer and longer. And so you need more sophisticated cooling paths. When there are very, very small engines, the heat could dissipate through the metal. But the larger it got, it was clear that that would lead to failed engines. And so two methods were used very early on. One is metal fins. There's no air cooling. There's nothing. In order to dissipate the heat, they put on lots of metal fins in order to maximize the surface area through which heat could be exchanged with the air. Then another system became institutionalized. The use of a cooling medium that had a higher specific heat than air. Some fluid that could be passed over the engine and be used to draw away the heat. The cheapest and most readily available fluid was water. And so the early vehicles were using water-cooled engines. Now, water-cooled engines came along with water, brought along radiators, hoses, ducts, and indeed, most importantly, weight. If a way could be found to get rid of the radiator, the hoses, the ducts, and still have a powerful engine, then perhaps General Motors could figure out a way of competing with the Ford vehicle, getting something that was relatively low cost and would have mass appeal, maybe even better than the Model T. In 1919, Kettering gives his staff a 1915 publication on the use of copper in the air cooling of engines. Now, copper was thought to conduct heat 9 times more readily than iron, these iron blocks in which engines were functioning. Maybe an engine with a if we figured out a way of integrating copper into this system, perhaps we could develop an engine with a higher compression ratio. With a higher compression ratio, get greater economy and more power for a given displacement, linear displacement, inside the piston, or inside the cylinder, rather. So, and this seemed a very plausible idea. How can we build copper in?